Welcome into another episode of the Division II Baseball Podcast. Before we get started with today's episode, we would like to shout out and let you know that the Division II Baseball Podcast is proudly brought to you by our good friends at Pro Baseball Radar. If you're looking to make smarter recruiting decisions in the transfer portal or on the JUCO circuit, Pro Baseball Radar is certainly your go-to resource for understanding player performance across all levels of college baseball. With their proprietary formula, they've placed stats from over 1,700 programs on the same scale. It helps coaches, athletes, families, and agents compare competition levels like never before. If you need to filter by home state, handedness, or other key factors, that's not a problem. If you want to see how players historically perform when moving up or down conferences, their one-of-a-kind transfer history database has got you covered. So save time, gain an edge, and make data-driven decisions with Pro Baseball Radar. Visit probaseballradar.com or follow them on X at Baseball Radar and schedule a demo today. Pro Baseball Radar, because the right move starts with the right data. All righty, welcome on into the Division II Baseball Podcast. We've got an exciting guest joining us today, Coach Arlan Freeman, the inaugural head coach at Georgian Court University for their baseball program, getting going here in 2025. Coach Freeman brings about a decade and a half of coaching experience at the collegiate level, familiar at the Division II level as well. He has experience building programs up from the ground up as well and developing high-level talent. So we're really excited to talk with Coach Freeman here today to discuss his journey and certainly looking forward to hearing about the challenges of a new program starting as well, along with the opportunities and the vision he has for Georgian Court and the Lions program. So, Coach, thanks so much for taking time to join us. How's everything going today?
Great. It's great. We had practice early this morning, and now, I'm home. I got to go pick up my daughter in a little bit, balancing the work-life experience is a chore, but it's something that, all of us have to deal with. So really excited about getting on here with you guys and taking a few minutes and sharing a little bit about what we're about at Georgian Court University.
And on November 9th of 2023, it was announced by Georgian Court that you were taking over as the head coach of the baseball program starting in 2025. Walk me through a little bit of, how that came about on your end, how that came about to ultimately become the head coach.
Yeah. So, so my background has been vast. It's been up and down the East Coast. I started my coaching career up in Maine, where I'm from. I coached high school baseball. I got into college, assistant coach at University of New England as a club coach. And then I was teaching, and, I went back and forth on what I wanted to do. And my friend that was at Flagler College at the time now is the bullpen coach for the Red Sox, Chris Holt. I was talking to him on the phone, and I said, hey, I want to get into college baseball. He said, all right, you got to go out to the ABCA conference. So I called up my college coach, Dennis McManus, and said, hey, I want to get down to the ABCA. I don't have much money. He's like, all right, you can stay on my couch. Flew out there. In the airport, I met Mark Pavo, the head baseball coach at the time at Barry University. 3 years later, I was his GA. I was there for 3 years. Then I jumped over to Lynn University, had awesome experience at those two places, had a chance to coach in the Cape for a summer, coached in the Coastal Plains, coached in the Valley. And then I bounced up to New Jersey. I met now one of our conference opponents, head coach Chris Langen. He's the head coach at Felician. I was there for a year, got into Division II as a pitching coach at that point. Then I went to Stevens Tech High Academic School in Hoboken, Division III. That was my first full-time job. It's funny because I've been listening to Jeremy Schieninger's podcast, and he talks about how long it takes to make money in this business. It's not an easy business. So that was my first full-time job. I was there for 3.5 years. Got an opportunity to take over the SUNY New Paltz job, Division III in the SUNYAC. Interim head coach there for 2 years. Had a lot of success. Coach of the year in the conference. And then, I was getting married. My wife's like, I don't want to move to New Paltz, New York. My boss wanted me to move closer, so I resigned from that. Got married. And then I jumped into, I got an opportunity to start the program at St. Elizabeth University, Division III. Very similar situation as this one. I was there for 5 years. Had, vast experience through that with COVID and all that stuff. Not having a field on campus, all the things that we're dealing with at Georgian Court. One of my former boss called me up and said, hey, Georgian Court needs a coach. So I applied, and, I got that job. It was a tough decision to leave St. Elizabeth, but, I got an opportunity to start another program. Felt like I learned a lot of great things at St. Elizabeth, and I look forward to, being able to take all that stuff and have it come to fruition at Georgian Court University. Jumping up a division was something that I wanted to do, and getting a chance to build something from the ground up is a special opportunity.
It is, and it's rare that you get that opportunity to do it multiple times. You have experience in building a program from the ground up. And what excites you about this inaugural season upcoming for Georgian Court?
Yeah, I really am excited about our guys. We have an awesome coaching staff, and when I built the St. Elizabeth program, I had some great assistant coaches, but we built it with a lot of freshmen. And this time around, I told myself, and I had a conversation with Dan Antilli. He's our assistant coach. He's been with me from the beginning. I said, hey, I want to build this with a lot of guys with some experience. So we went out, we got some guys out of the transfer portal. The transfer portal is obviously a huge thing right now. And, I went out and I got middle infielder from Eastern Maryland Shore, and he connected me with a couple other guys that were in the portal. So we grabbed those guys. We got 6 guys that are 1-year players. We went out and got some JUCO guys, some transfers, and the majority of our roster is still freshmen. But we also wanted to build it with diverse group of guys. We wanted to make sure that we had guys from different parts of the country, different experiences, to be able to give holistic experience for our players. So that was the exciting part of doing that. And, we have about 48 guys on the roster right now, and we're excited about getting going.
And Coach, talk a little bit more about some of the challenges you faced in recruiting, especially, when you were announced in 2023, hey, we're not going to play till 2025.
Yeah. So challenges are, everybody asks me what the toughest part of building a program. It's about getting the right people in the room, and I think we did a really good job of having conversations with, probably over 1,000 kids and picking guys that we think would help build that foundation, that sustainable foundation that is going to help us sustain that championship culture. The 2 captains we have this year are both guys that, were 1-year guys. One kid came from Francis Marion. Another kid came from Eastern Maryland Shore. I had a lot of conversations about what it was like coming in and some of the expectations, but we went through and found the right kids. And then the second part was building infrastructure. We don't have a field on campus, and a lot of people are shocked when people talk about not having a field on campus, but a lot of schools don't. We're going to use a variety of different ballparks. We're really close to Lakewood. The single A team for the Phillies is right down the road, so we're going to use that. And we're also going to use the municipal complex. But we were able to build some infrastructure on campus. We have some turf on a tennis court. We have 2 softball fields because it was an all-girls school. So we've been using a variety of things on campus, but also I went out and I built relationships with some of the local municipalities and We use a little league complex that was built for indoor facilities. There are some indoor, facilities that we use for practice. We're a very transient program. My buddy's the head coach at Georgetown, and they don't have a field either. So I talked to him a lot about the challenges that he has to deal with. And, I've talked to a lot of coaches around, so I've been able to get some good information. And, we want to build a program that, has some grit to it. Georgian Court is GCU, so grit, character, unselfishness are things that we're built on. And I want our guys to understand that we need to do more with less. And, I was listening to a podcast today, and Ryan Smythe, that's the assistant coach at Keystone, was talking about doing more with less. And I think you got to embrace it. We got to find those kids that have that mentality, that are willing to, work hard and work relentlessly, and understand that they should appreciate what they have and appreciate this opportunity and understand that not a lot of people get it.
And that is great. Grit, character, unselfishness, standing for GCU. Just to go and have another question about the recruiting process, if you're talking to recruits, like if Robert and I were prospective student athletes, is part of the pitch as well? Like, you have a chance. There is no history. There is no tradition. You have an opportunity to come in and make an impact and really be the start of something. Is that part of it? Or is it more so, this conference and the type of guys you need to get with your time at Felician?
No, I think it is. I think it is something to do with that. I think guys have to understand that there is no record books. So, if a guy hits 10 home runs this year, that'll be the most home runs in program history. So, I think that's exciting. And, trying to find the right guys that have the right mindset to come in and be part of something from the foundation. A lot of guys don't want to be those guys, and I think a lot of kids want to come into something that they can kind of melt themselves into a culture. The exciting part is we're building something from the ground up. So we've talked a lot about, culture and that buzzword and building it the right way and having standard be the standard and what we stand for. So when I'm recruiting the guys, I talk to them about the nitty gritty. I talk to them about all the good things and also the bad things that are going to have to go through it. And it's funny because I talked to my seniors now and I said, hey, I told you this July when I was recruiting you that it wasn't going to be easy. And they said, Coach, we know, and we're willing to go through the battles. We understand its ups and downs, especially as the program is built. And the experience, we want it to get better. We talk about embracing the 1% and getting better as a person first and a ball player second on a daily basis. And it also goes for, our administration and, our coaching staff, understanding that, we want a Division I experience inside the Division II model, inside the constraints of Georgian Court. And, we understand we don't have everything, but we have the Rocky IV mentality. We want guys that are willing to work out in the barn and understand that, take it for what it is and have a chip on their shoulder. And I think we found some guys that have that. And we're going to surprise some teams. I mean, we're not going to win every game, I'll tell you that. We're going to probably be better in the future than we are this year. But, we expect to make the playoffs. We expect to make some noise. We expect to win some baseball games. And, we're going to get better. And we are going to be a refined group towards the end of the season and hopefully be ready to contend for a championship the first year. I mean, Goldie Beacom did it. There's a lot of programs that have started. I think about Wilson, Wilson College, they were in the conference at St. Elizabeth and, they won 30 games the first year. So, we expect to win a lot of baseball games. We expect to get better each day.
And you mentioned a little bit about first year, and you have experience, building a program from the ground up first year. What's something that maybe you learned that you wish you learned the first time around that you applied here the second time around?
I'll be honest with you. I think letting the kids understand that it's their program too, but there has to be one voice. It has to be mine, and I've talked to my assistant coaches about, treating it like it's their program, but understanding that my name's on the door. I'm the head of the snake. Everything, my job is set the mission, set the vision, and it's my assistant coaches and our players to drive the culture and build this program. So, I think I gave St. Elizabeth, the kids at St. Elizabeth, a lot of leeway. I've been tougher on these guys. I've held guys to a standard, and they know what the standard is. And now, what's the fun part is they're governing themselves. Guys are late for practice. Dudes are, the captains are walking over and say, hey, you got to sit out. And you got to be able to understand that, what you do on a daily basis is who you are. And, we want to have guys that show up and, 15 minutes early is when you're supposed to be there. I mean, we get up, tomorrow we'll get up to lift at 5:00. Guys, pitchers roll in at 4:45, but we want to do things differently than other teams because we want to be different on the field. And, I think it's easy to get up and work out at, 1:00, but can you get up at 4:45? And, I think that's what creates that grit. And I think that's what creates the character. And there's some kids that can't do it. And those guys aren't going to be successful in our program.
With having seen this conference before, what do you think? And I know you talked about in your last answer, you expect to win ball games and you're excited about the guys for at least seeing what this conference looks like in the talent level. What do you expect in general, like when you talk about the team and you talk to the team about what it takes in this league, like from your perspective, what does a successful CACC team look like?
I mean, we want to get into the playoffs, so we got to throw the baseball over the white thing. I talk to the pitchers a lot about that. Doesn't matter if you throw 78 or 88. If you don't throw it over the plate, you got no shot of getting outs. We're going to play consistent defense. We work a lot about trying to make the right play and calculate the percentage of, like a slow roller, for example. I talked to the third baseman. If you don't have an 80% chance of making the play, don't do it. So we're going to try to prevent mistakes. We're going to try to get some timely hitting. We're going to play, I like to talk about aggressive, smart baseball. And know what that looks like, knowing what the constraints are that each guy has, and understand the strengths and the weaknesses of our team, and really using our team as a unit to win baseball games. I coached at a lot of places, and everybody says, "Oh, we got 9 guys, and they're going to play all the time." I'm going to use my roster, and guys are going to have roles, and they're going to understand that. We're going to communicate that concisely, and when those guys have opportunities to use that, or use that role, they're going to get opportunities, and I always tell kids, it's not necessarily an opportunity of failure. It's an opportunity of growth, and it's our job to identify what these guys' skill sets allows them to do and use them in those situations. And if they aren't successful, it's because we assessed them wrong or they're not prepared. And, it's about going to work and getting better each day. And, we embrace that.
And speaking of going to work and getting better each day, looking at your coaching staff, you got a pretty big coaching staff compared to the, average Division II team. Talk a little bit about having, including yourself on the website, 12 total coaches.
Yeah, we got a lot of guys that are helping build this thing. Like I said, I think it's really important to get the right people in the room, and it takes a lot of hands to build this. So I've talked to guys, and a lot of guys want to be part of this, and I want to include as many people that want to be part of it. We got guys that are specifically working on recruiting. We got guys that are around for Zooms and opportunities to talk to our players. And we also have guys that are boots on the ground or at practice every day and are grinding. And, I want to have as many people that want to be part of this, be part of it. I want to include as many people on the staff and on our team, because I believe our program is going to change people's lives. Baseball is a vehicle to make the world a better place. And the more people we can touch, the better chance we have to impact this world in a positive way. So that's kind of what my thought process is. Now, the big staff, it's a lot. We have a big roster and a big coaching staff. And, I'm constantly sending text messages, and I'm trying to get these guys to, we have a lot of young guys. We have a lot of guys that just graduated college last year. So I'm trying to teach them and trying to get them to have some ownership. But I communicate with them what their roles are, and I explain to them that their roles will expand as I can trust them more. And, some of these guys are really starting to impress me with what they're doing, but I want them to take some ownership too. I think if you can give guys ownership and give people roles, I think they can excel in that. And then those roles will expand just like players. Really fortunate to have some guys that have some experience and, guys that I can hand things off to. And, some people can't do certain things, and I realize that, and I end up having to manage it. I think the best leaders delegate, and I think a lot of people try to run it by themselves, and you can't do it, especially when you have a huge roster like this and you have a huge coaching staff. You got to have some guys you can trust and that can run with things.
Yeah, that is great. And it's how you detail the staff and everybody working together to try to do what you've been talking about, build this program, start this program, and get things going. Specifically when it comes to the guys, who are some guys that are really exciting you this fall and leading up to the season that we should watch out for?
So Carter Ryben, he came from Eastern Maryland Shore last year, and he's got a chip on his shoulder because they didn't win one baseball game last year. So the one he wins this year will be the first one. So that he's won over in a year. Alex Elliott came from Francis Marion. He's one of our outfielders. We got Gabe Williams that came from Clark. He played at Eastern Maryland Shore also. We got Caleb Carter that he was at Brookdale for Johnny Johnson, came to us last semester, took the semester off to get himself eligible academically. He's going to play infield. We got a couple freshmen from Florida. We got this kid named Israel Garcia that came from Matter Academy down in Miami. He's from Cuba. He came over here 2 years ago. Special kid, 4.0 student, got a rocket arm. We got a couple arms that are going to impress. We got a kid named Anthony Ortega that's a freshman. He doesn't sit 90, but he touches 90. We're gonna win baseball games with smoke and mirrors a little bit. We're not going to be able to we're not going to be able to blow up by guys. We got a kid named Ryan Bolello. That's probably going to be our best arm. He came from Oceans Community College. He's lefty. He can spin it. He can change it. He can hit his spots. He's gonna be tough. I think he's got a lot better. My background is pitching, so we're gonna win on pitching and defense. I'm sure Dan, if you ask Dan, my assistant, he wants to hit 50 some odd home runs. He came from Bloomfield, where they led the conference in home runs. So I think we're gonna play exciting baseball. We're gonna steal bags. We're gonna bunt, hit and run. We're going to play good defense. We're going to hustle on and off the field. We're going to play the game the right way, and really looking forward to seeing these guys get after it. I think we got some guys that are going to impress. We all know those guys that can turn it on when the lights are the brightest, and I think we have some guys that are going to impress us and impress the conference.
Absolutely, Coach. And thank you for letting us know some big players for your program. The final question I have for you is, going even further, how do you envision this Georgian Court baseball program over the next few years?
I expect us to win the conference, and a lot. We're in a really, really good area in New Jersey. We're in the Shore Conference. Baseball around here is really, really good. I mean, if you look at, Montclair State, that's up, right down the road, Felician and, some of the Division I schools, there's a lot of talent that comes from this area. And I think some kids are going to realize that, hey, this is a good opportunity. they can stay home or they could be close, especially with COVID and the way a lot of kids, changed. I think their mindset changed. They don't want to go as far away. A lot of kids will go away and then they won't be successful and they'll look to transfer. And, they were choosing to go to some of these JUCOs. A lot of parents want them to go to a NCAA program. So I think we're going to get some guys from there, but also, we're going to go out and recruit the best players in the country. I expect us to be right in the middle. We got some talented guys coming in the 25 class. We got a big roster coming in, but our guys know that it's no 4-year contract. Their job is to get better, and our job is to recruit over them. And, we're going to give them the tools to do so. But, we're going to be right in the middle of this, and we expect to be hoisting that trophy sooner than later.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate you talking about this team, this program, and really your journey. It's great to hear about your thoughts about building a program, but also what you've done to do it now for a second time. And I know you and the rest of your staff, your team, and really the entire school is excited about what's going to happen on February 28th when you get to see the first pitch thrown and the first everything, for this team. So it's going to be fun when you guys have that opening series coming up. We wish you the best of luck for that. And we certainly look forward to continuing to chat with you as we try to cover Division II baseball at the highest possible level. So we hope you can stay warm until the opening weekend comes your way.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I really appreciate having me on and get a chance to talk about our program. And we're really excited about getting going. So thank you again for shedding some light on our program and our university.
And that is Arlan Freeman, head coach at Georgian Court University.